He asked the president, why wasn't Ricky G at Kasarani?
Yes.
Did you listen to the Hot Breakfast this morning? Here's what you missed.
And that's how we lose it. We'll just go into politics.
At a funeral, no less.
And because now it will be people who are supporting William Ruto and people who are supporting Raila Odinga. Mm-hmm. The fact is that if that finance bill goes through, yes, the worker will suffer more. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But because it has been proposed by Kenya Kwanza, and all MPs of Kenya Kwanza have an obligation to pass it, whether it's going to finya you or not, they will pass it. And all Azimio MPs have an obligation to oppose it. And so that's how we lose in this as a Mwananchi, because now it is just about Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, about William Ruto president and Raila Odinga. Whatever the details will not be known. Mm-hmm. And media will report about it and will be called alarmist and not supporting the government. But the fact is that if that finance bill goes through, we are going to suffer.
Majority Whip Silvanus Osoro spoke about it, and he said when government has an agenda, even this bill that is coming to parliament, it must pass because that is the government agenda. Government agenda never fails. So your guess is as good as mine. I think we expect a mini showdown. But going back into a little bit of history, President Uhuru Kenyatta during his term in 2018 also attempted to bring particularly VAT on petroleum products, tried to put it at 16%. There was noise. Finally, he yielded to the pressure and he reduced it to 8%. Now, William Ruto, now current president, has taken his back to 16%. Yeah. But the fact that he enjoys a supermajority, and if you're in Azimio, you would say it is a bought majority. No. It will not matter, unfortunately. That is where the vote will go. Now, waiting to see when the time for voting comes, how many will stand to be counted. We saw those that stood to be counted in the Senate when they voted against an amendment to the Division of Revenue Bill to add more monies to counties. And it brought a lot of issues because said the main role of the Senate is to protect the interest of counties, Article 96. But they did not even live up to that expectation. Now, this finance bill that is coming up in June when the House resumes, we have now 4 days. Today is 4 days to the conclusion of the public participation exercise. Members of the public submitting their views to the Parliamentary Committee on Finance that is going to relook at that bill and look at what the public thinks about it. Kenyans have 4 days to submit those views so that when they come up for review, although we know, of course, that if that is the way it's supposed to go, then it's going to go.
Unfortunately, that is what could happen. And we saw when President Uhuru tried to raise the tax from 8% to 16%. Some of the biggest opponents of that move, Akina Kimani Ichung'wah, Ndindi Nyoro, Musalia Mudavadi, Aden Duale. Now they are Kithure Kindiki. Now they are on this other side, and they are going to support it. However unpopular it is, like Osoro said, the government agenda will go through however unpopular it is.
By the way, what do you guys think of the president and the former prime minister meeting later on that same day at the Kip Keino Classic at Kasarani, and then the next day
at the Mashemeji?
Who's that?
I mean, the guys talk. Like they say, they know each other.
Yes.
And it's like banter. You are a Man City fan, I'm a Man United fan, Goin is an Arsenal fan.
You had to bring it in.
And so, in public, we are throwing banters at each other, but we are having a drink together. But ukiona online, nimeambia Goin venye, imeenda. Goin tupe banta moja. And so, these people talk. And it is good for the country that they have shown publicly that they can sit together and talk. And some hardliners, it is a very bad thing.
Yes.
Some hardliners,
from both sides.
From both sides. Yes. Some will say, unaona tena president ameanza kumuleta karibu. I would imagine your cousin might not be happy. The Maumau grandson might not be happy.
Yes.
I would imagine maybe Ledamo Lekina will not be happy because they thrive on the opposite sides.
Yes.
If the president and the prime minister, former prime minister, are fighting, then it is good for them.
Yeah.
But once it has shown, they show that they can come together, it becomes, because now they have no agenda to sell. Because the agenda for some of the hardliners is to hit on Raila. And the agenda on some of the other side is just to hit on President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. And so when they appear to be coming together, they have no agenda to talk about.
Yeah.
And so they feel very bad.
No, it's like you expect them to, when they meet, that there'll be no handshake, there'll be no greeting. That is the perception, because when you see them throw words at each other during the campaigns, or even during rallies or during their meetings, you would think these people are, enemies par excellence. But these people can actually sit in one corner, and I think that's also another message to Kenyans. Sometimes people put it to heart that in a discussion somewhere there would be a fight. We've seen football fans fight each other and end up killing each other because of a player that really doesn't know that you exist. So, their meeting together is very good for the country. It calms down some of those temperatures. We are waiting for this bipartisan team to sit. At least the maandamanos have stopped, because I must say the disruptions were really major at a time when you actually need people to go to work. And for those that are actually working, so that they can also employ those that do not have work, and that effect going down. So it's really good for the nation.
Weka kwa lungs.
Yeah.
Usieke hii kitu hapa.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Breathe in, breathe out. Utachukia mtu kwa sababu ya Raila Odinga ama kwa sababu ya William Ruto, and then they will have a handshake. And wewe utabaki hapo na chuki yako, and you will be confused. So just weka kwa lungs.
Weka kwa lungs.
Pumua in, out.
That's it. He asked the president, why wasn't Ricky G at Kasarani?
Yes.
Ruto akasema, wewe acha siasa wewe. Acha siasa wewe. Usitamuliza.
Kutafuta story mtafuta is another. This alikuwa wapi?
But that is what happens. People expected that maybe President Ruto will not stand up to say hi to Raila Odinga. Rigiji almost didn't, but
He almost did.
but he thought good of it, and he had a statement, and he stood up to shake his hand. Ruto was upstanding. Straight,
Upright.
and so it just shows you that these people are not enemies. These people, like they say, know each other. And the banter they gave is just to gain the votes for that period.
Yeah.
After hapo mnaenda kukaa pamoja, either mnaomba ama mnaomba pamoja,
Mnakunywa chai.
Yes.